This is a review of the daf that was given on Shabbos. We're holding in Horayos daf Hey, and we're starting in the Mishnah of Daled with base in the bottom. The Mishnah says, "Oyu beis din v'osu kol hakol or rubon al piyim." Beis din paskin, tzibur followed. The din is mevim par. They bring an animal. So here is the Mishnah is going to introduce to us three opinions regarding the karbonis that you bring in par, hel, and dosh tzibur. And the first one is, if the shita of Meir, the tzibur did they made a mistake, so you bring one animal, one par for the tzibur. Who brings it? We'll see later. Beis din brings it. If it's a verduzara, which is brought down in the pasha shlach, so then you have to bring two karbonis, par v'seir. The seir is a goat. Yudah says you have 12 shvatim. Every shevet brings its own par, so you have to bring 12 par. Well, when we speak over the zara, it's 12 and 12, 12 par and 12 seir. Continues the Mishnah Amud Aleph. Yud gimel par. He says you have to be 13. Why 13? It's only 12 shvatim. Par v'seir l'kol shevet v'shevet. Every shevet brings a par v'seir. Par v'seir l'beis din. And one for beis din. So a mayor says you bring one, and we'll see later, beis din brings it. According to Yehuda, every shevet brings it. According to Shimon, both. Every shevet brings and beis din bring. Now, you're going to ask why it's 12 shvatim. So that we'll address in the next half. How do you come to the count of 12 shvatim? Now, beis din paskin, not all Am Yisrael follow them. Only zayin shvatim, 7 shvatim out of the 12 follow them. Mevim par. You bring, who brings because it's the majority, to bring par. Rashi says over here clearly, Ruben shekol shevet v'shevet, the shiva shvatim. Okay, going to add the Ruben shel Yisrael, the majority of Am Yisrael are here. So they bring a par, according to our mayor. Once you have the majority of Am Yisrael, bring a par. Whereas kachom being par v'seir, if the zor is par and seir. Divir amir. Vido imer zayin shvatim shechotim being zayin par. According to Abu every shir brings, you have your 7 shvatim, each one brings. Shah shvatim shaloi chotim mevim el deim par, and the Gerus on the side is par, as we'll see in the Brisa. And Rita says everybody brings, every shir brings. Once like only zayin shvatim did the chait, the other ones have to bring it as well. Once the majority brings a korban, and we'll see it more, not necessarily, but the way the Mishnah says the majority, so the rest bring a par as well. So every shevet brings a par, including the ones that are not choyte. Even the ones that are not choyte bring based on the ones that are choyte. If you look at Rashi, just to mention this point, Rashi says, the home of the Gemara, the zayin the korban have the lav dafka. Duodin l'shevet echot shechoto al pi Horayos based in hagodol shasha shvotim shleichoto mivim aladem par. Rabbi Yehuda does not talk about only zayin shvatim. Even if only one shevet follow based the hagodol, all the other shvatim have to bring each one a par. Shimon oimer chet par, or is kachavim chet par v'chet seir. Rabbi Shimon says no, they bring 8. If you have 7 shvatim that are choyte, each one brings a korban. And beis din bring a korban, so it's 8. Par v'seir l'chol shevet v'shevet. Each shevet brings their karbonis. Par v'seir l'beis din. What about the shvatim that are not choyte? According to Rabbi Shimon, you don't say the ones who are not choyte bring. That's one of the differences between Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon brings, and also the ones who are not choyte, they're nigrar, they're pulled with the ones that are choyte. And according to Rabbi Shimon, you don't say nigrar. One of the shvatim has his own beis din. We learn in the second Sanhedrin, every shevet has his beis din. So the beis din of that shevet did very well, and that shevet followed him. So that shevet is chayav. The rest of the shvatim are patur. That's what Yehuda said. You only chayav when it's based in hagodol Sanhedrin, not your own personal shevet beis din. Not your own jurisdiction beis din. Shemar v'im kol adas Yisrael yishgu v'ladas v'loy adas loy soshevet has to be kol adas Yisrael, the entire Eido. So Chachamim, meaning everybody, including here Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Meir, disagree with Rabbi Yehuda that you will follow the beis din of that shevet only. So we find here three shittas. Rameir, basically bring the korban. Rabbi Yehuda, every shevet brings the korban. Rabbi Shimon, every shevet and every beis din. In addition, you have another machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. When most of the shvatim, or some of the shvatim did the chet, what about the other shvatim? According to Rabbi Yehuda, every shevet brings the korban. According to Rabbi Shimon, only the ones that are chet to bring the korban. And in addition, another nekuda here is Rabbi Yehuda holds that if one shevet followed his own beis din, that shevet only brings a korban. Interesting, a story happened. They knew, beis din knew that they did a beis din paskin, and Am Yisrael followed them. And Am Yisrael did two things. They ate chaylev and dam. Chaylev and dam you're not allowed to eat, but they ate both. One of the things, beis din paskin, is mutter. The other one was just a mistake. But they don't know which one is which. Could they bring the korban par hel doshel tzibur? Meaning, they definitely followed beis din's hoira. We just don't know which one was which. So, at the end of the day, did beis din paskin a mistake and Yisrael followed them? Yes. What was it? We don't know. You need to know what the chatas is, not the fact that they did that there is people that did a chet. The one's going to address that in a moment. Asher chatu, we'll learn from here. Chatu shnei shvatim meviim shnei par. Two shvatim in a chet, they bring two animals. Chatu shloisha meviim shloisha. Everyone brings his own. Maybe it's not shvatim. Maybe it's individuals. It's call. It goes based on call. Every call is chayav, every shevet. Ketzat. Chotu shnei shvatim mivim shnei parim. Two shvatim mivim two parim. Chotu zayin mivim zayin. The shar shvatim shloi chotu mivim eladeim par par. Then the rest also bring it. Shafil leil shloi chotu mivim eladei chotim. Even the ones who are not going to bring with the chotim. That's Rabbi Yehuda shita. Chelemar kal lechayav kol kal v'kol. The call teaches you every call is chayav. Tivri Rabbi Yehuda. And they go on to explain more about it. In the second how you see for the word call was Rabbi Yehuda mean. Shimon omer zayin shvatim shechotu mivim zayin par. Every shevet brings a par. Ubeis mivim al yadem par. And also beis mivim. Shnei mal mata kol v'nei mal kol. You learn it from Gzera Shabbat. It says call by the krivu call. The call brings a korban. And it says l'mal kol me'enia kol. Also the nail of me'enia kol. The beis din made a mistake. Ma'kol amul l'mal beis din v'kol. Of kol amul l'mata beis din v'kol. The beginning talks about beis din together with Lashon together call according to Yeshiva's lav dafka. I mean, referring to beis din over here, so beis din have to be involved here as well. The zayin shodim made a chet, beis din will bring with him a par. For him, Turim. Am Yisrael won't bring a par. Only beis din. Nemar kol l'mata, nemar kol l'mal. The same drasha of Shimon. It says kol. Ma'kol l'mal beis din v'loy tzibur. Oh, the one paskin of the beis din had a tzibur. Very similar to Mishnah's Nekuda, just saying it's only beis din. Now, these three shittas we saw in the Mishnah. We're coming now to the fourth shitta. Shimon says the name of Rameir. Chotu shisho shvatim v'rubu shakol. You have 6 shvatim, and they are the roiv. Meaning population, they're majority, but a number of shvatim they're not. Or zayin yabishein rubu shakol. Or there's zayin shvatim, but they're not in population. They're not the roiv, but in number of shvatim they are. So it means you have a semi-roiv. So then mivim par. They bring a par for that. That's what Shimon Lazar learns. The more is going to now come and address this whole brisa and explain all the shittas. That's the beginning of the brisa. That you have to know the chatas, which chatas you bring, not the chayt. Mantano. This is not shittas a blazer. What's a blazer? Tanan. Person who ate regular individual. He's not sure if he ate chaylev or noiser. So Bishur says he can't bring a korban. He doesn't know where he did the chet. Rabbi says, of course, it can be a korban. He knows he did a chet, just doesn't know which one it is. Anyway, he has to bring a chatus. Then he bring a chatus. So that's what Rabbi said by individual. So the chor bet tzibur is the same thing. So more of Ashi Omer, I feel Timur Rabbi Lazar Shani Yachod Dechtiv Asherchotu Alel. It says the shechot is a special Gzera Sakosov. Asherchotu, I have to know which chet it is. by Atzibu. Also by an individual it says a shechota bo. So Choy needs to know which chet it is. There it's to tell you that he did a chet, it wasn't misasik, it was misasik. The Rashi brings here that he was intending to pick up something on Shabbos, and it turned out to be that it was connected to the ground. And misasik is a sugi on its own. What's the exact definition of misasik? But it means someone who did not have the intent to do that ma'aseh. He has to have intent to do something wrong. Even if he didn't think it's wrong, but he had intent to do the ma'aseh. That's by individual. By tzibur, we don't have such a thing. And by tzibur, the pasuk teaches you they have to know which chet to bring in the korban for. My Tami Dabiu Tzuriza Abudo Kasova Bo Keholik Sivi. Okay, the board now explains Abudo. It says call 4 times. Why? The 2 psukim that we mentioned. Ein call, and it says Ikrivi call. Now the word call, as the Achronim pointed out, is extra. You don't have to say the word call. So it says call twice, extra words. And it says ha call, an extra hey. So you have 4 extras. The 2 words call and the 2 letters hey. Call ha call, call ha call. That's what the Gemara brings. Chad, what do you do with these 4 drushes? The chad, the call, the call. One is to tell you that every call needs to bring every shevet. That's what we saw earlier in the Masechta. That if Bezi Paskin and the Tzibur has to follow. Not the Bezi Paskin, they're the ones that are sin. They do the sin. Has to be the Bezi Paskin, the Tzibur does the sin. V'chad legriro. One to tell you that if you have the majority of the Shvatim, the other Shvatim also bring Korbanos. V'chad l'shevet she'oso b'Horayos Bezdin. And Horayos Bezdin, according to one gear so. And one that follows the own shevet. So really it says 4 drushes. 3 of them is the Chiddush Rabbi. One of them is something that everybody agrees to. I think we're going to address in a moment how we know that. What are the 3 that Chiddush Rabbi? Let's start from the end. Shevet that follows his own Bezdin. That's only Rabbi holds. Guriro, that means if you have the majority of the Shvatim, the rest of the Shvatim will follow as well. That's also Chiddush Rabbi. And that every Shimon brings, and Rabbi Shimon agrees as well. Says the Gemara now, how do we know Rabbi Shimon? Rabbi Shimon plus the Kol Eksivi. He says there's only 3 Kol. Why? Hakol and Kol Hakol. Meheina Kol Orchid Kol. Once it says Meheina Kol, you say an extra hey. Kedam Yin Shemeheina Palnio. So the question is the hey extra or the Kol is extra? You have to understand. Pashab Shana Koitab Shimon. The word Meheina Kol is, that's the way the Torah speaks. The eyes of the call, even though you don't have to say the word call. So what is that extras? You have only 3 extras. Chad v'chad v'kol kol v'kol. What is v'chad kol kol v'kol? Rabbi Shimon agrees with Rabbi Yehuda, and that's Shita. So one of the svaras of Rabbi Yehuda he agrees with. The trey achrini. What do you do the other 2? What we said before, the gzir shava. Nimar l'mata kol v'nimar l'mala kol gzir shava. Mar l'ala bezdin kol avkan bezdin kol, because the first one speaks out of bezdin. So bezdin you have to bring also a korban according to Rabbi Shimon. That's your learn for beer. The other 3 drushes of Yehuda is not dashna. He doesn't agree that it's extra at all. So what do? You just have the 2 words call, because Trey called Ksivi for Gzer Shava. In other words, he doesn't agree with the extra hey. So you have 2 calls. You do the Gzer Shava the way Ramir learns the Bezdin are the ones bringing in, not the call. That's it. Not all, only partial. It has to be the majority. So is it koi, which means roiv? That's what the Gemara learns that koi means roiv. Or it means me'eni, which is mute. So that's what he says. There's something called a semi-majority. Either majority of the Shvatim, majority of the population. It's not roiv, but it's not mute, something in between. What is this psukim? This is to point out, Rashi learns the psukim learning from the psukim Pasha Shlach, which is the psukim speaking about the Zohar. So Rosh disagrees. He wants to say that's not right for me. He wants to learn from somewhere else. Now, so that's the drush over here. So it comes out. Rabbi Yehuda has 4 extra calls. He learns 3 things out of it that he agrees with. That he says every shir brings its own. All the shvatim are goyer of the other shvatim, and every shir can bring with his own bezdin. And he learns a 4th drush that everybody agrees with, and that's what that when Bezi Paskin, the tzibur have to follow and do the ma'aseh. Now the bezdin does the same. So the what about Rabbi Shimon? He takes away 2 of the drushes of Rabbi Yehuda, and he left with 1, but he doesn't have an extra pasuk for the 4th drush. So, and according to me, I don't have any extra pasuk for the drushes of Rabbi Yehuda. So says the one that family base. If you have Shimon ben Meir, that drush of Rabbi Yehuda that everybody agrees with. Minolu, how do they know that? Why? What's the problem? Because they never darshan it. They don't have an extra pasuk for this drusha. So how do they know this drusha? This fourth drusha of Rabbi Yehuda. The pasuk you said before, according to Rashi. So it says necessary. Ein is the basic. They caused someone else to do. They didn't do. They caused someone else to do. The Cholam Bishgaga. The Olam did it. It's more Mitzrich. I need both drushes. Because one of Ein is so Bishgaga. Avamina Filu Miyuta. Even it says Ein maybe even the mute of the nation. Haliksiv the Cholam Bishgaga has to be Roiv. The Iksav the Cholam Bishgaga Avamina Davli Bezim Be'adi Rubo. They have to do together with him. To tell you that's necessary. They made Amisol do, but they don't have to be part of it. That's a psuk of this Kachavim. And just to put that, according to Rashi, these are the same psuk we read before, according to Shema Lazu. That it says Kilcholom, and it says Mein Eidu. But Shema Lazu learns Mein, not all the Eidu. And the Gemara, according to this, now is focusing on necessary. Necessary means that Beis Din caused others to do it. So what is the Gemara saying here? According to you, they have 4 calls. What is teach me this drasha? The Beis Din have to paskin, and the tzibur is the ones who sin. The other 3 tells me every shev brings his own. Many the shvatim that are nachay to also bring the greira, and every shevet can go follow his own Beis Din. According to Reb Shimon, the first drasha we learned from a different place. He has only 3 extra calls. 2 he learns like Zerashava to tell me the Beis Din brings it. And the extra 1 he learns like if you the every shiva has to bring as well. According to me, I don't have that extra 1 because he doesn't learn Hakal, so he only tells me Beis Din brings and that's it. Says the Gemara, Oyru Beis Shalechot. So Beis Din of 1 Shevet Paskin, that Shevet brings according to Rabbi Yehuda. Shevet Echad Rabbi Yehuda Horayos Beis Din Agadol Mimaisu Shashvatim Olay. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, it comes like this. If the Beis Din of that, the private Beis Din of that Shevet Paskin, only that Shevet brings. If Beis Din of Godol Paskin and 7 Shvatim followed, everybody else brings as well. So well, what happens if Beis Din of Godol Paskins and only 1 Shevet follows? What happens to the rest of the Shvatim? So Shevet Echad Rabbi Yehuda Horayos Beis Din of Godol, follow Beis Din of Godol, Mimaisu Shvatim Olot. The other Shvatim follow not. Yeshiva Shvatim with the Ma'is. When 7 Shvatim follow Beis Din Gadol, so then who the Ma'is Shvatim bad down, the rest Shvatim follow Shudei Kerubo. You have the majority. If you have only 1 Shevet, maybe not. Or Dilma Loishna, maybe there's no difference. If it's 1 or many. What do they bring? Parechot. Bryce brings a scenario, we don't know what the scenario is talking about. Telekama says they bring 1 par. And Shimon says you bring 2. So we might ask you what we're talking about. Even Meshichotu Shivo, the majority of Glycerol, Shimon Talibai. According to Shimon, every Shimon has to bring and Beis Din. Why you say 2? Has to be 8. El Bechotu Shivo Dechot. El Ma 1 Shivo was Choyte. B'mai. Ibor Rose Bedino, talking about his own private Beis Din paskin this way. Shimon Leisle. It's only Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that your own Beis Din you can follow it. Shimon doesn't agree with that. So why does Shimon say he brings 2 parts? El Labor is Beis Din Gadol. I have to say, we're talking about 1 Shiva Schoite and follow Beis Din Gadol. Who's Talakari? Rabbi says only one who brings the korban is Beis Din, and only when the majority of clients will follow it. El Labor Rabbi Yehuda. El Labor we're talking about. The Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that if 1 Shevet follow Beis Din Gadol, they bring 1 korban. And according to Shimon, if 1 Shevet follow Beis Din Gadol, they bring 2 korbanos, 1 for the Shevet and 1 for the Beis Din. We'll see in a moment how Shimon learns that way. So that's a Horayos that according to Rabbi Yehuda, only 1 Shevet brings, not the rest. We're talking here the case of Shimon Lazar. You have not a full majority, you have 7 majority. You have 6 Shvatim, Rubi Shakol, and the Gears on the side is, or 7 Shvatim in the mute of Kol. Shimon Lazar, the time Shimon Lazar, Shimon says the name of a mayor. In that case, Mevi'im par bring 1 par. So why does Shimon say he says 2 par? That's the Chiddush that comes out over here. According to Reb Shimon, if I don't have a full majority, you don't bring par for each shevet. You bring only one par for all of them. And we'll see that in a moment a little bit more. Toshma Rab Yudoim. Shevet Shaso, we read another brayso that says clearly. Shevet Shaso Beres Beidino, Shevet that followed his own Beis Din. So he only that shevet brings. But if he follows Beis Din Agadol, I feel then everybody has to bring Shema Mino. That's a rayo. And now they could bring a duke from our Mishnah. The shevet follows his own Beis Din. Only that shevet is chayav. The rest of Shvot Pturim. Mashma Lameli. So the Gemara says Lameli Midi Mishakol Shvot Pturim. Why don't you tell me that everybody else is potter? Hatano Yisrael shevet chayav says only that shevet is chayav. Of course, the other ones are potter. Once he says one is chayav, so the rest automatically potter. If it's his own Beis Din, the rest are potter. Dik from the Mishnah. The only one they find their own private Beis Din, they are the only one in chayav. But if they find everybody else is chayav. That's what Rashi brought in the Mishnah. According to Abudo, one shevet did a chait, Beis Din Agadol, all the shvatim will bring karbanis. So according to Abudo, when you follow Sanhedrin, you always bring 12 karbanis for every shevet. You might lose the going now. There's a continuation of that. Shevet echad she'oso beres Beis Din Agadol of Shimon. What about if Shimon, when one shevet follow Beis Din Agadol? Do they bring or not? Or you have to have the majority. Toshma Mayim Mivim Parechod of Shimon Shtei Par. The same price we just mentioned before. According to Rav Shimon, bring 2 par. The Mayaskinim. More goes back through the sequence we just went through. Ilam Meshichotu Shiva. One time the majority of the Klai Yisrael did a chait. Shtei Parim, Shmoina Parim. According to Rav Shimon, to bring 8 par. Each for each shevet. Ela Dechot Shiva Dechot. Ela Ma, what Shiva is chait? V'mai. Ilam Boros Beis Din. He's followed his own Beis Din. Shimon Leisef. Shimon doesn't go with one Beis Din. So according to Shimon, it has to be, there's no korban at all. I mean, it's not korban or his param lo shutzibur at all. Elabor was Beis Din Agadol. Elamai is found Beis Din Agadol. According to Shimon, he brings 2 par. So when Tizber Tanakama Mani, so Tanakama. Iremei Aruba, we have to have the roiv. Rabbi Yudo Shashvotim Namai, so just established according to Rabbi Yudo, the rest of the Shvotim also bring. Elamanim Shimon Lozer, I have to say that this price, like we said before, the Shimon Lozer. Okay, the Tanyo. So, like we said before, to Shimon Lozer, so we talk here about a semi-majority. So according to Shimon Lozer, bring 1 par. According to Shimon, bring 2 par. Why bring 2 par and not more? So here, this is what we're establishing, as Rashi brings over here on the side, how she says, Vakis Leb Shimon, Tehedika Ruba Begavi Ruba Shvatim, Mevim Par L'chol Shevet. Then you bring a par for each Shevet. But if it's not a full majority, it's only a semi-majority, bring 1 par or par Beis Din. That's how you want to learn according to Shimon. So what Toshma bring another raya. You have to have Beis Din Agadol. Mar Chachamim, you have to have anyway the majority. Shimon, he Shema Mina. According to Shimon, you have to have Beis Din Agadol. The one's questioning was, Shevet Echad Shos of Beis Din Agadol. They bring a korban for that shevet. Shema Mina. How do you know the one shiv is called a call? Because he said every shiv has to bring. How do you know one shiv is called a call? So it says over there in the pasuk that Yeshua was standing in Beis Hamikdash, which was in Kahal Yehuda. Speak about Yehuda, we call it Kahal. Now it says over there Chadasha. So what, by the way, brings a drasha. Has nothing to do with our sugya. What's Chadasha? Like Chadasha Rabbi Yechon Shechitchu Dvar. They said a chiddush over there. How we learned that. We learned that Mesech Pesachim. V'am Tful Yoyim Ali Kares B'Hachanei Leviyim. We learned over there that a Tful Yoyim, someone went to the mikvah but didn't have Shemesh, cannot go into the Machanei Leviyim. Can't go to Harabais. That's what they mechadish over there. So you see that it's called Yehud. It's called Kol. You see the one Shem is called Kol. So maybe 2 Shvatim were called Kol, but not 1 Shevet. Yaakov tells Yosef that when he came from Eretz Canaan, Shmuel told him he will have a Kal Hamim. Which one is it? Who wasn't born yet? Shevet Binyamin. Who was born then? Binyamin. You will have a call. Who's the call? You see one Shiva is called a call. Maybe the Torah said, maybe it means to say that call is only 12 Shvatim. He says before Binyamin was born, you were only 11. Once you have Binyamin, now you have the call because you have 12, but you really have to have 12 to have call. So you want to tell me that only 12 Shvatim call call, not 11? We just established even 2 Shvatim call call based on the pasuk that we had by Yeshua. So it can't be that he needs 12 Shvatim. So I'll talk about the one Shevet, Binyamin is called call. Just however, to end with is that the Gemara brings you a pasuk. Which pasuk? The pasuk that Yaakov is telling Yosef this bracha. But we have an earlier pasuk. Because Moses spoke to Yaakov. That's a question of Teis over here. Teis asks, why I have to go to that pasuk, not this pasuk? So there are many answers over here. Teis Rosh addresses as well. But one answer is there could be why Kosh Baruch Hu promised Yaakov Avinu call. Maybe it means 2 Shvatim. But Yaakov Avinu is not Zeichen. But the fact Yaakov Avinu is repeating it to Yosef, that shows that he accepts it as a bracha. So kahal means one shevet only. That's the raya that a shevet is called a kahal. We will stop over here and continue from here in the next daf.